not sure of how you feel, but baby, I wanna fall for you.
Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am about to do a very highly requested YouTube video, and that is Bikini Posing 101. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about me. I am a IFBB bikini competitor. I won my pro card last summer, so I have a little bit of an insight on how you should bikini pose. I do a lot of coaching towards other bikini competitors, and there's a ton of tips out there. There's no right or wrong way to teach someone, but I'm about to share with you guys my top tips and my suggestions on how to get into that beautiful bikini pose. So, without further ado, let's get to it. All right, there are 3 segments to this video. The first one is going to be my 3 poses that I'm gonna share with you guys. They're the 3 poses that are the main poses that the judges look for. The second, the second part of this video is going to be how to walk. I'm gonna share with you guys my tips and tricks for that. And then the third is going to be transitions. There's no right or wrong way to do them. I will just kind of share with you guys my thoughts and input on how to not accurately do them, but do them in a very poised way. So, here we go. All right, so first of all, the shoes that I recommend are from the Shoe Fairy. You can use my discount code Taylor to get a discount on them, but you can always customize them for beautiful looking, unique shoes. And Lily too, she wants to say hi. All right, so there are 3 main bikini poses. The first one is kind of a side pose. Second one is going to be more of a front-on pose. And then the last one is going to be the back pose. So I'm going to go through the tricks and tips on how to do all 3 poses. The first one being extremely easy. So what you want to do, you want to face the wall to the side, step that front leg out, so your toes are literally facing that way. You're going to kind of sit your glutes out like you're sitting in a chair. So you go from here, step back a little bit, sit your glutes out. Now you want to turn your torso towards the judges while keeping your hips in line to that wall in front of you. Turn your upper body towards the judges, place your back hand on your hip, place your front hand kind of behind the glutes, not out here, just kind of relaxed, and then turn towards the judges. Running through it again, you face the wall, step back, make sure toes and hips are facing this way. Bring your upper torso towards the judges, keeping your hips locked where they're at. Back hand kind of clasps your hip, bring your elbow out, and then place the back hand kind of behind your glutes, nice and relaxed. And also make sure that the thumb is sort of facing the judges rather than having your hand like this. Turn that hand out. So this will be the first pose. Here it is, going right into it, bam. So as you notice, this is a pretty easy pose, and this is one that you can 100% do the entire first season if you need to, because this pose is definitely a little tricky to get into, and if you can't nail it, don't worry about it. Just go right into that first pose and you'll be completely fine. You want to make sure in this first pose that your toe isn't facing, the front toe isn't facing the judges, because then you lose that glute and hamstring line. So the reason why I'm having you place that foot directly in line with this foot facing that way is, as you can see a glute and hamstring line here. When I turn my foot towards the judges, it goes away. So always make sure that your feet are parallel and facing that way. Always make sure that your chest is turning as much as you can towards the judges. So, first pose, done. So the second pose, again, is pretty tricky, but I'm going to share with you guys some tips that I used. So what you want to do is go on the diagonal. So you're not going to be forward, you're going to be on the diagonal. So your feet are about hip distance apart. Make sure they're a tiny bit wider. What you want to do then is make sure all of that weight is in that back leg. So instead of having your weight on both legs, you're going to sit to the back and have the weight on the back leg. Then what you want to do, bring this front toe, point it towards the judges. So now we have my hip facing this direction, all my weight is on the back leg, you have that front toe facing the judges. So now what you want to do, you want to bring that back hand, place it on your hip again, make sure your elbow's out, not facing back. Then you're going to bring this front torso towards the judges again, relaxing your left or right hand, whichever one you use. So as you can see, my hips are facing the diagonal direction, my toes facing forward. I have all my weight in my back leg. My hand is on my back hip, my elbow's pointing out, my torso is pointing towards the judges, and I'm squeezing my quads, my glutes, and my core. You can also squeeze your delts by just activating it like this. I know it's kind of strange, but you can also activate your delts a little bit too that way. So we'll go into it again. So you're going to be a little bit wider than hip distance apart on the diagonal. You're then going to sit back into that back hip, making sure all your weight's back there. You're going to bring that front toe towards the judges, place that back hand on that back hip, bring your chest towards the judges, and squeeze everything in your might. So you go from here to here. Again, here to here. And that one is really hard to do. It took me personally about a year to do. I couldn't even do it my first season. So if you don't get it your first season, that is completely fine. Some people get it like that. Some people it takes quite some time to work through. Again, I can say that mind muscle connection has a ton to do with this, and muscle memory has a ton to do with this. As you continue to practice all these moves, your body will start to really get into place a lot easier. So the first time you do it, it's going to be really awkward, it's going to really hurt, but you know, a couple months down the road, your body will definitely ease into it a little bit better and a little bit easier, and it will look a lot more natural. So let's do the back pose. There's a ton of different ways to do the back pose. You don't want to bend over too far, and you want to make sure that your legs are not too far apart either, because that looks really bad and the judges don't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get into my back pose. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, so what you want to do here, you want to make sure your feet are a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Again, everyone is different. You kind of have to play with what looks good on you. I personally like toes pointed out. I think that creates a nice shape to those legs, and it also shows your quad muscle a little bit. And it also can help the glute ham tie-in pop out a little more. Sometimes it doesn't help, but sometimes it does. So I recommend trying to point your toes out a little bit. So a little bit wider than hip distance apart with your feet. Point your toes out a little bit, slightly. Then what you're going to want to do is bend your knees really, really slightly. You don't want to be in a squat position, an awkward squat position. You want to just bend them slightly. Then you want to place your, I'm going to come this way because it's probably easier for you guys to see me. Then what you want to do is place your hands on your quads. Then press on your quads as hard as you can to bring your glutes out. I place my hands kind of on the center of my quads. I think that it looks better that way. Some people place them up here and their elbows are a little bent in that back pose. I think it looks better when your elbows are a little bit straight in that back pose. So you're gonna really, really use those quads, pressing on those quads to pop those glutes out. You want to have an arch in your back as much as you can. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but the whole goal here, what the judges are looking for, is that glute and ham tie-in. So when you do that, that's what brings that glute ham tie-in out. And people that are you know, in the pro league, they pretty much all have that glute ham tie-in. So if you want to look at any pro stage or anything like that videos, you can definitely see what I'm talking about. And maybe I'll put in some clips here of my back pose from the last time I competed. But that's what the whole back pose is. That's why we have to really arch our back and do this awkward back pose, is because the judges are looking for that glute ham tie-in, and it's not very prominent unless you really arch that back. So anyways, you are going to step a little bit wider than hip distance apart, toes pointed out, place your hands on the center of your thighs, really stick out with those glutes and arch that back. You want to make sure that you are not coming down like this, you are straight up and down with your chest. So you shouldn't look like you're bending over at all. You should look like you're still standing straight up with just an arch in that low back. Whew, that one is tough, guys. So those are my top 3 poses. Again, there are tons of different ways that you can tailor it to you, tons of different ways that you can take instruction, but those are the main instructions that I give my bikini posing clients. And it works pretty well for them, but everyone is different, everyone's structure is different, so everyone's posing cues may be different. So what works for one person might not look the best for another person. But those are my top 3 poses, and I hope you guys liked them. So now we're gonna go with the walk. And one thing I wanna tell you guys is, if you've ever watched a Victoria's Secret model show, the fashion show, that's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to have sway in your hips. I want you guys to look confident, chest up, and I want the feet going in front of the other, just like a model. So if you guys want to look up YouTube videos of the Victoria's Secret fashion show, watch how they walk with confidence and poise. That's exactly how you want to portray your walk while you're doing a bikini show. So I'm going to go through this step by step, and you guys take what you want from this. So first step, what you want to do is you want to just practice walking. Just practice walking back and forth in your posing studio, gym, whatever the case may be. Just practice walking the first day. Next day, what you want to do is place one foot in front of the other while you're walking. So one foot in front of the other, walking, not worrying about your arms, not worrying about anything else, just focusing on really trying to walk with that model walk like you see the Victoria's Secret fashion show models do. One foot in front of the other, crisscross, crisscross. Next step you want to do is your hands. So it's funny because every posing client I have, once we get the walk down with the legs, we go with the hands, and they do this. So I guarantee you guys are probably at home about to do this when I talk about the hands. I'm laughing right now, but anyways, this is how you put the hands with the feet. You just want to do opposite hand, opposite feet like you would walking, and have some sort of a sway. So front on, this is what it looks like. Some sort of a sway with your hands. You're kind of like this. I feel like a Barbie right now. And then add them to the legs, crisscrossing. And that is step number 3. Step number 4 is the last step, and you want to work on the hips. So that's great and dandy if you can get this together, but what am I missing? I'm missing the hips. It's not very powerful looking. When you add the hips to this walk, it looks a lot different. So you want to think about dipping the hips in while you walk. So I'm swaying the hips. When I take a step, the hips sway this way. When I take another step, they sway this way. So whichever leg I'm on, the hips are dipping. And it doesn't have to be that drastic, but you want to focus on really moving the body and really focusing on making it look very effortless and poised. So this is the end result. That is what you do for your walk. That's what I recommend you to do. There's plenty of other walks out there, but I think that is a very easy way to teach you guys if I just kind of focus on using a Victoria's Secret model for their walk. So that's the walk. I hope you guys enjoy that because that is hard to nail, but you guys will get it after a few tries. Do not give up. Practice every single day. Every single day. Okay, let's do transitions. Transitions are definitely what can make or break a performance, and they have to look natural. So what I'm about to show you guys is kind of my own routine, but you need to realize that everyone has their own routine and everyone has their own style, which you may not get the first month of posing, but you will eventually start to get what your style is and what your specific routine will be. But here's kind of what I recommend, like some little tips here. So as you come out, let's say you nail this first pose, all right? Then you're gonna transition to the back pose. So what you wanna do is every time you transition, you want to close your feet in. So I'm going to, my weight is on my front leg. There's no weight on my back leg. I'm going to bring the back leg, tap that toe to the front leg. So here I am, first pose. All that moves is that back leg.
You like to lay low. I've been peeping what you bringing to the table. Working hard, girl, everything paid for. First, last phone bill, car, no cable. With your phone out, gotta hit them angles. With your phone out, snapping like you Fable. And you showing off, but it's alright. And you showing off, but it's alright.